Hey everybody, welcome back to Timeout with Tackle What's Next, where we speak to athletes and executives about how sport has made a difference and changed the course of their lives and the lessons they've learned in life outside of the game. I'm your host, Danielle Berman, and I am the founder and CEO of Tackle What's Next, where we help athletes create impact outside of the game and find their purpose in life after sports. Thanks for taking the time out with us here at Tackle What's Next. I'm really excited about today's guest. Today we are talking to Jordan Murrell. Jordan is a real estate investor and pro soccer player for the Las Vegas Lights FC of the USL. He previously played for Real Monarchs, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Reno 1868 FC, and Valor FC. Prior to his pro career, Jordan was a member of Canada's U18 and U20 squads, and he played 4 years of D1 men's soccer at Syracuse University, where he earned his degree in economics. Outside of soccer, Jordan is a real estate investor and owner of the newly launched MIG Inc., and I'm super excited to hear all about this tonight. His new business aims to educate busy professionals about how they can create passive income in real estate. And I see Jordan's on. I'm going to bring him on screen, and we'll get started. Hey, Jordan.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I'm so excited to catch up and hear all about what you've been up to this year.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, let's start with, obviously, the first question is, you're playing pro soccer and you started a business during a global pandemic. So tell me all about what that's been like.
I think it's been amazing. I've really focused in on what needs to happen, not to be cliche, but really tackle what's next, you know? So shelf life for professional sports isn't forever, so we need to start creating avenues and ways to create income and support your goals moving forward.
Yeah. What did you have to do in terms of, I know there's a lot of uncertainty obviously still going on, but when you're starting a business, when you're going in to start your real estate, being a real estate investor and starting your own real estate firm to educate others, were you benefited by the fact that some people had a lot more time on their hands or were looking for extra income streams? Like, how did you pivot to take advantage, you know, in some ways of what was going on, and what did you have to change in order to keep moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I woke up and realized that there was no soccer at all. You know, there was no certainty on when sports were coming back, if they were ever coming back at that moment in time, you know. I, for one, have never been in a pandemic, and I know a lot of people haven't. So it was really focusing on what I wanted to do in terms of my next chapter. And I have been blessed to be educated about financial independence and financial freedom through my parents. And so a lot of people aren't taught these types of things. And I want to be that vessel to educate those, especially those who think that they don't have enough money or it's too risky or whatever their concerns are. I'm there to help guide them through it and help them achieve their goals.
Yeah. Now let's talk about how did you get interested in real estate investing and what inspired you to start this company?
What inspired me, I think just the passive income. I really like the idea of passive income, and as well as during a pandemic, a lot of things that I thought were essential were taken away. You know, sports for me was essential, but we realized right away it was gone.
Right.
But one thing that most people, which are people are fortunate to have, is a place to lay their head at night, is a home, you know, whether they're renting or buying. And one thing that really stuck out to me was that a place to live is a necessity for everybody. And why not be involved in something that everybody needs?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's shown a lot of areas this whole year. It's shown a lot of areas where, you know, sometimes change doesn't happen until we really get like kind of a bit forced in our face and say, well, it's sink or swim at this point. And, you know, that's one definite thing people realized is where you call home really matters. That's really important. And I love that you talked about how sports everyone thinks of sports as like a constant. Like, of course there's sports, you know, the World Series happens, the NBA finals happen, like, sports. But this year it was all different. And I think the sports world was thrown for a loop. So let's talk about the impact that sports has made on you and why our society considers sports so essential. I want to go back to the very beginning. When did you first experience sports? What sport were you playing as a kid? And how did you end up choosing soccer?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I was born into it, honestly. My brother played, my dad played. I have uncles that played professional. I have cousins that played professional in the Premier League, played for England. So I think that I was born into it from when before I could even walk, I had my shin pads on, you know?
Yeah,
So,
you weren't given an option.
yeah, there was no other option. It was like, hey, you have to do this and you have to be great at it. So, yeah, and that's how my sports journey began. And I think that being a part of a team, being an athlete, has given me tools to grow as a man, as a human being in society. You know, there are so many. I think soccer is relatable to everyday life. You know, there are ups and downs, and there are challenges that come across your desk, let's say, and you have to be able to adjust and adapt and then conquer and thrive.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And I think that ties really into my next question is, what are some of those things that you've pulled from soccer? I mean, you're still playing soccer right now, but how do you see those skills translate? And how do you kind of imagine, you know, how do you translate those skills from on the field to in the business world, working in the real industry?
Teamwork is everything. I'm nothing without my team. You know, that's on the soccer field or off the soccer field. So my team is everything. I lean on them more than they lean on me, for sure. So just like in soccer, you know, you can't go out and be a one-man team. Messi still needs Busquets, Sergio Busquets, and Suarez, other players around the team, and that's how I feel within the business. You know, my team members, whether it's the realtors, the lenders, title company, all these people are key to the success and growth of the team.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned earlier too, like the team is so important, but it's also about thinking about how sports applies outside of sports. And so what have you started to do? Like I've said a couple times, you're still actively playing, but what have you started to do, you know, in this new 2020 world, but even before that, that really have been setting you up to get to this point where you started your own business? Because I'm sure that didn't happen overnight, but you know, I'd love to hear how you've been building up to this moment, and what are some of the things that you've been doing right now and before now set you up for success off the field.
Yeah, I really and truly believe the connections that I've made have been a key part to so far my success. You know, I think the connections through Syracuse, like yourself and I, you know, Syracuse alumni, those are networks that people need to realize that they can tap into, especially during times maybe you feel like you have nothing to offer, but maybe you can offer, maybe people need something from myself. I always ask, how can I help? You know, I want to add value to people's lives and their businesses before I even think about how they could do something in return. I'm always willing to give. And then I know that later on, good karma will come, or even if it doesn't, I'm okay with that because I'm self-fulfilled with doing my best for other people, just like I am on the soccer team, just like I am within my business.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so important too to realize that a lot of connections and building a network is giving and not getting. And that if you're always saying, oh, I need this, you're not going to make a lot of genuine connections.
No,
I love that you say, I
no.
don't care if they even come back to me with opportunities for me. It's all about putting in the world, because that's how people find you and say, oh, you got to talk to Jordan. He's the best. He's so helpful. He's done for me, or he connected me with this person. And that's definitely how the relationship gets built. So I think that's great. Now, when you decided to create MIG and you're now in the real estate industry, you're supporting people, what would you say is crucial to your success? And did sport play a part in teaching you that?
Yeah, time management I think is huge. there are only 24 hours in the day. Nobody gets anything different, you know, and learning how to schedule your time, whether it's in between meetings, as in if I have video in the soccer field and I have training and then there's a game later on that week, I have to schedule out whether I have training and then lifting. I need to figure out when's a good time to eat, and it translate over to the business world. You know, I like to wake up early and go to the gym. That way I have the rest of the day to do what I need to do, so I could schedule things from 6 a.m. onwards because I'm in the gym at 5. So it's just really learning how to time manage, which I learned at school for the most part, even in high school, going to college, just time management throughout athletics, and then translating that over to the business world.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that a lot of athletes at the college and professional level will say, well, I don't really have any experience in a professional environment. And it's funny because it's like, yes, you do. It's just, it's a different professional environment than maybe a typical college graduate or a typical young professional. I think athletes have the best time management of anyone that I know, especially if you've gone through the college system. You know how to balance class, school, practice, weight training, somehow keeping a social life, right? That's also important. And so I definitely feel like skills like that and criticism, you guys are really great at taking criticism from coaches, and that translates to bosses and clients and all of that good stuff. Yeah.
That's a great point you raised right there. I didn't even think about while keeping a social life. We're traveling, we're doing homework, we have exams, and then you have training, and then you have lifting, and then you have to be involved in these classes and that extracurricular activity. You also then have your sport that you have to take care of. So that's a great point.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, I don't like the word balance, but prioritizing, which is more time management, right? Block out your morning to get your workout done so that you don't get to the end of the day and say, oh, well, didn't have time to do it.
Right.
It's like, nope, myself up for success. So do you think now and ever, what does the word routine mean? Have you been trying to keep a routine? I know every day feels the same, and yet every day feels different. I don't know, this world is a little strange, but how do you keep moving forward in quarantine-esque times?
One foot in front of the other. You wake up every day and I like to write down my goals, whether it's for the week or for the day or to-do list. So I try to stay organized in that sense. I write it down what I need to do. If I have an idea, I'll put it down on paper, so that way it's out there in the world. It's not just going to be lost in my mind, which a lot of things do get lost. So keeping the routine, like you said, as I said, I wake up early and go to the gym. That's the start of my day. I love getting up and pushing my physical abilities to the max, just like I would in soccer, and then focusing on pushing myself throughout my business to the max as possible. So, yeah.
That's great. What would you say athletes can do to make impact in their own lives and empower others? Obviously, this year we've seen athlete activism, as they're calling it, and lots of athletes speaking out, but not even in a huge public way. You're making impact on the lives of busy professionals and helping them learn how to make some extra income that could really change their lives. So what advice, or what would you say is a great tip for athletes looking to say, what's my purpose? What can I do to support?
Think about what you like doing other than that sport. Obviously it can be related, but the doing of practice or the games, think about what you like outside of that. And then think about what people essentially need and how you can help mesh the two. So I would use my soccer connections, because I know in our league, there isn't a financial education program, but I want to help people on my team. We'll start off on my team, and then in the circles that I create, I want to help those people now create this mailbox money, the passive income, because say some players may not be receiving a lot of money or receiving money over 4 months at a time. But if they have these investments set up for themselves and they keep repeating over 5-10 years, soccer won't be a thing anymore, but you will have this mailbox money coming in each month.
Yeah.
But for later on.
That's a great point. It one of our final questions that we always like to ask, but it's great that you mentioned start with something you like. That's really important. You have to do it, otherwise you won't put the time in to do it.
Right.
But the other thing that I love that you said is just start building small. It doesn't have to be an overnight huge life shift, but start to build something, like you said, so that as soccer or whatever sport it is leaves, this thing is going and growing. And I think that's really important to think about, is this doesn't have to be a 70-hour-a-week commitment that you're adding to your schedule, a full-time job or a whole career change. You know, something like the program you're trying to do with your teammates, or passive income through real estate, or just make connections on LinkedIn that you can go to and revisit when you are looking for something new. So I think that's really good advice to share.
Yeah, and even just 15 minutes a day of something that extra amounts to a lot of time over a month, over 2 months, over a year, 5 years, 10 years. 15 minutes a day is not a lot of time. You know, you could spend 15 minutes on Instagram very easily, right? You know, so if your goal is to read 2 books a month, then you read 15 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, you'll probably hit your goal.
Right.
So just breaking it down to, like you said, one step in front of the other, just small little goals to put your achievements on, and then you can mark them off when you get there.
I love it. I think that's great advice for athletes thinking about whatever their next step is. It doesn't have to be this sweeping change, and it is those small, like, build that consistency, and it will pay for you in the long run. So my only other question is, what would you say to your younger self about getting prepared for life beyond sports and preparing for what's next?
Oh, I would tell myself to invest in real estate a lot earlier. The best time to start investing in real estate, I hear, was 30 years ago. The next time is right now. So,
exactly.
You know, I wasn't alive 30 years ago, so I'm going to start right now.
I love it.
Yeah, I would definitely tell my younger self to create connections as well. Create a lot more connections and invest early.
Yeah, and I think that start now is the best advice, right? It's they're never too late to start thinking about what's next. And like you said, the best time may have been years ago, but the next best time is at this moment. Find that 15 minutes and start reaching out to people intentionally about what you want to do.
Exactly.
Well, Jordan, what's next for you? What's coming up with your business, with sports side of things? Where can people find you to learn more?
Yeah, so we're going to keep focusing and keep helping professionals, busy professionals, and any other person who wants to learn about real estate and passive income. And people can find me at jmurrell4. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and Jordan Murrell on LinkedIn. I use all those platforms. I like to try to use all those platforms well. So I'm readily available to be connected to there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming to Time Out with Tackle What's Next. I'm so glad to hear everything's going well and your business is taking off here. And again, everyone tuning in and watching this later on, make sure you go follow Jordan here on Instagram and on other platforms, and check out MIG, and what he's building there. And if you're ever interested in real estate, now you know who to talk to. Jordan's your guy to reach out to on LinkedIn or Instagram and set up some time to chat and learn more. So thank you so much here, Jordan. It was great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to the next time.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time at Time Out for Tackle What's Next. Thanks, Jordan.
Not a problem. Bye-bye.